So let's talk just a little bit about carrying and the severity of carrying. Okay, that's that first Mishnah on Shabbat. Yitziot Shabbat shtayim she'en arba bifnim, shtayim she'en arba bachutz. Right, carrying. Now again, what is this talking about? We're going from a public domain to a private domain, right, or private domain to a public domain. And what you have to know is, really should have started from Perek Klal Gadol in the seventh Perek, but is that carrying is one of the Lamed Te Melachot. Leaving from one issue. So it's just like cooking. So some people, they don't understand how serious carrying is on Shabbat. So why do we have to give this grade? So I know how old the Erub in Brooklyn is because it came out the year that I was married. So I'll be married 19 years. So it's so for you guys, you don't remember, people especially are following the Erub, you don't remember life without it. We used to always being empty pockets, empty things, never break, never. So it's like everybody followed. Everybody found. Now, some people violate Shabbat and carry, okay, because some people violate Shabbat other ways. I guess they know. Listen, the rabbis tried very with all their might to try to help things. So I'm going to give a very truncated, very brief history, very, 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 very brief history of just a little bit like community. So because we live in Brooklyn, so one of the greatest Gedolim that we've had, definitely Chutzaz, or Moshe Feinstein, lived in New York. And he was considered posek, not only hador for many people, but posek for Chutz La'aretz for sure. And there are many different psakim that we follow with Rav Moshe Feinstein, just to show the respect. So let me just give you two. So one of them is, God forbid, La Aleinu Bar Minan, never happened. Say amen. Amen. Good. Let's go back and right. Let's say that let's say God forbid a person passes away, has a loved one pass away on Erev the holiday. Right as they're ready, an hour before the holiday, the person passes away. So now there's like the rabbi has to be ready for that question. So what do you do? So pshat of the Mishnah is on day one. Yom Tov is not Shabbat. We never bury on Shabbat. Day one of the holiday, you're allowed to bury with goyim. The goyim can dig the hole, do everything with goyim. And day two, you could do everything with Jews. Jews can go the day two, second day of Yom Tov. Everything is the same. We treat the second day. There's not a class about second day Yom Tov, right? We'll do that, right? Second day Yom Tov, we get, yes, no matter what. So now it's interesting that you mentioned for Rosh Hashanah. Some people are more strict on Rosh Hashanah. Say Kedusha Achat. We'll see, right? So we try to do so, but in general, I didn't hear what you said before. As a generally speaking, right, with all the interviews, what do you have? You're allowed to bury with Jews. The Jews can go bury the body.
They can drive?
Yeah, why not? It's only the Rabbanan on Yom Tov. Driving is creating a fire. So to do the deoraita mitzvah, anything digging is deoraita. Also, right? Digging for the body, you could also do. Rav Moshe Feinstein very famously made the psak halakha. Nowadays that we have freezers and like where we can put the dead body in, and no detriment is going to come to the body, and it stops what's called zilutad Yom Tov, which is zilzul of the Yom Tov. What's happening? Everybody wanted to go. I want to go. How do you pick 10 people who go to, let's say, bury someone's, God forbid, grandfather? So if they passed away on that, then you say, I can't go. Then what were they doing? They were just hopping into the cars on Yom Tov, and it was people who weren't really like allowed to, you know. So that's something. So we followed Rabbi Moshe. Even that Rabbi Stein even tells the story one of his first days of being a pulpit rabbi. And that was the question that he got. And he was thinking, okay, what do you mean? I know this is in Halakha. It's Pashut, bury on the first day with Goyim. And he went to Rabbi Lankri, Allah Shalom, right? I'll just say, right? And he said, no, that we wait till after the holiday. We wait till after the holiday based on Moshe. Again, I'm not saying Rabbi Moshe was the only one who said that, but I'm saying it was very famous, his psak, to do that. So now, all right. So now Halav Yisrael, good, very good. That's the second one we were going to talk about. So we said also, he said that very, very famously that since the government, right, is very strict Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she was good. Yeah, no, of course, no. You gotta operate. Hey, Sarah. All right, she's ready. It's great. What's going on? So like regular halav, regular milk, you could go anywhere if it's American made, right? You said, then it counts as even halav Israel because we have no halav Israel means that a Jew can watch it to make sure that no one's going to swap it out for pig milk. So since the government was so strict about doing that, so then it functioned as that safeguard, and you can drink any of the milk.
Only in the US.
So just giving only in the US, but in any country theoretically that would have such strict laws. It's not like it, but America was one of them. So like when I went to Europe, so like you only got halal Israel. Right. So like when I went to Greece, he was considered a very one of the greatest Gedolim. Now there were other huge Gedolim, that were Chutz La'aretz, is Rav Soloveitchik, so the Haredi community, not so much, because he was leader of YU. But you say the Rav, everybody's like, oh wow, the Rav's Psak, huge. So you had Rav Soloveitchik, you had other Rav Hutner, Rav Ruderman of Baltimore. Like you had a lot of just huge Ashkenazim, Rav Gifter. These were very, very, very huge poskim that you have to be, familiar with. But again, so that's just an example. So here too, so we're going to have Rav Moshe Feinstein is also going to help us out here also. But Rav Moshe Feinstein has a very famous response in Igrot Moshe that says you're not allowed to have an Erub in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not allowed to receive an Erub. Not allowed. Brooklyn is not allowed to have an Erub. And there were different reasons for that. One, let's go over, let's say, like, just very, very, again, there's so much in Erub and you can study it for years. So just to understand, there's a difference between a Reshut HaYachid and a Reshut HaRabim, private domain and a public domain. The Melacha is going from private to public or public to private for it to be there. So I want to take a soda and I want to bring this from my house and bring it outside and drink it outside. That's Isur Torah. I see something outside, I want to take it, I want to bring it into my house. Isur Torah. Okay? Bringing it from one domain into the next. So that is considered, now what constitutes the Reshut HaRabim? So now you have Mahloket in Maran, and also it's not so clear. Is it something is it a street that's 16 amot wide? In which case that would be Ocean Parkway 16 amot wide, 32 feet wide. Of course it is, right? Or is it something where a street where 600,000 people pass by it every day? So even in Ocean Parkway, it doesn't qualify with that because it'd be 20 every 8. I think the math comes out to like 8 to 10 people each second for 24 hours. 600,000. No, I'm saying 600. I'm trying to tell you, like, let's say what you would need. You would need 8. Let's say if I was sitting there with like a gun, like people passing by me, I would need 8 people each second for 20. Yeah, the driving, walking in cars. I think you have that. I think you have that for the first 12 hours of the day. I don't think you have that for the other. That's a lot of people. 600,000. So constant. Meaning, I'm just giving you the numbers, meaning where 600,000 people would pass by today. So I would ask you, Vivian, would you say that Ocean Parkway is the Reshut HaRabim? I was like, yeah, we mean it's the most busy street in the whole world, but not 600,000 people.
Right. But the other one was 16.
Good. So now which one is it? So Maran, we taught you Stam. Let's see if you get the Stam V'yesh. Nice. Very good, Vivian. Good. Right, Stam V'yesh, Halakha Stam. There you go. Who's the Halakha teacher? There you go. That's we had Rabbi Matt also. So. And definitely, I think I got you first in 9GH for sure with that. I know for sure. I told you guys that. Right, so this quiz is savage word quiz. Okay, word bank time. Still do that, what? Yeah, you guys had a word bank. The back of the thing. So. Oh my gosh. How's Evelyn doing? Where's Evelyn? Get her on the phone. MashaAllah. Naomi said she was going to come to the night class.
Naomi,
yeah, okay. Only good things. Okay, back to it because we're recording. But let's say, right. So now So you see, stam v'yesh halakha kestam. So by the way, obviously, in one siman, in many different simanim in Shulchan Aruch, this order is reversed. The definition of Reshut Harabim. Is it 16 amot wide, which would obviously make it more mahmir, or is it 600,000 people? And we usually rule on the lenient side to say it's 600,000 people. Now, even if you want to say that it's 16 amot wide, there are other stipulations that would count for a road to be considered a Reshut Harabim. Number one, it has to be mifulash. It has to go straight through the town from one end to the next. It can't bend or have any curves. Does Ocean Parkway curve? Yeah, Avenue W is that hard. It's a hard curve. Some people want to say no, that's not considered a curve. Okay, fine, but then they say that's a regular. that's for sure a curve, and that definitely extends through the whole community. You could even say it on the guanis, on the belt when it goes that way. Some people say it has to be okay. So that's another. That's another way that we get around it. Now, even with all this, there is right. There's another way. There are ways to gate a Reshut Harabim, right? An Erub for Reshut HaYachid is only a lechi and a korah. What's a lechi and a korah? That's a post and a mezuzah, right? Let's say the green. You ever see the poles on the strings that are on people's houses, right? So the lechi are the sides, right? And it has to have a korah, a string. Why? Because that's something called tzurat hapetach. It has to look like an entranceway. So it looks like an entranceway that we've created a Reshut Yachid up until we've advanced not just your front door, we've advanced the Reshut Yachid to now the front lawn. So that's the logic of why do poles and strings work. Poles and strings only work with a private domain. Poles and strings don't work with a public domain. Now let's go to the deal Erub. The deal Erub, now in deal, you have 600,000 people. Don't make jokes about it. Everyone knows that, right? So they don't have 600,000 people going down any of the streets. So according to all opinions, everyone's like, right? Rabbi Dweck very famously endorsed the deal Erub from Deal Shul. There's a book about the deal Erub, like how now, but it's very hard in deal. Poles and strings have a couple of disadvantages. Number one, it's not as sturdy as walls or mechitzora walls, real walls that are, so now we're going to talk about that, right? You could use a seawall, right? You could use, let's say, they build, let's say, sand. They have sand and stone structures actually all around the perimeter of the beach to be able to hold things in place. So you can use, right? You can use the seawall as a full wall. You could use the subway, right? The subway things as a full wall. You could use houses where they fill in the gaps as a full wall. Right, so that's usually what they've been doing. That's what they've done. They spent $2 million, the community, on making filling in the walls, filling in the gaps, right? And they made it very far out so that it encompasses all, even past Manhattan Beach. Manhattan Beach had a little bit of an issue, like because they have to get over the bridge. So I think they connected it recently. Right, so it's very far. I think even Mill Basin 4, because they have to get to that. That's how. It's gargantuan. It's very right. So it closes it off. Now that's closing it off with walls. Now you don't need walls on according that. So let's back up. Let's go to the deal Erub. So deal Erub. So okay, right off the bat, no matter what, with the 16 amot wide, right? I don't know if they have any street that's 32. I mean Norwood maybe 32 feet. Yeah. But Norwood bends. Every street in deal bends. You don't think Ocean Avenue bends? I don't think Ocean Avenue is 32 feet. You think so? Ocean Avenue, I probably not.
It is 32 feet.
Either one, meaning you would say if it now it depends what you hold. We're trying to say 600,000 is Reshut Harabim.
Meaning you can't.
Meaning then I can we don't want for Erub, we don't want it to be Reshut Harabim because then it's easier to make an Erub.
So you don't want. Wait, what do you mean?
I don't want if you were trying to make an Erub, right? You want to have the easiest way possible and the one that most poskim accept and that they say nobody fights over anybody's eruv, that nobody comes out and says, oh, you're one of those people that puts an eruv on your front lawn. Nobody cares. Why? Because it's a private one. It's private. It's a yachid. It's very simple. Lechi korah. That's it. Which is easy. It's much easier. Once you say that this thing that you're trying to make people, once you're trying to allow people to carry in what would be a Reshut Harabim, it's much more complicated. It's much more complicated. So that's
still can't, 'cause it's still there.
you can't do it, but you need walls. And according to the Rambam, thank you very much. But according to the Rambam, Rambam would not carry with our Erub because it's not fully enclosed. Each side of, let's say I have picture a square. Let's just say for argument's sake, there's 100 feet on each side. And I'm simplifying these laws, but let's say just that you have the concept. If there's 100 feet on each side, I only need 51 feet of wall on each side to count it. Rambam says it's not. Rambam says the whole entire thing, 100%. So no one is going to get upset with anybody who doesn't want to carry in Brooklyn. Again, unless you're a militant, like crazy person that loves politics, and you're like, no, they're yelling at us. There are tons of people who don't follow it, but usually, I can't even say usually. I don't want to be careful, right? Meaning, there are many people who, since they don't follow it, they look down on people who do follow it, and it becomes like a very big badge. It's one of those things that separated the community. I'll talk like, does your rabbi follow the Erub or not? Huge.
Because it's also a very big deal.
It's a huge deal. You can't see your parents on Shabbat. You can't see young couples. You guys are coming in on that. You can't see your parents on Shabbat because it's something that can carry itself or walk itself. Right? Let's say originally, and you're using the force of an item. Without your force, it won't move. It's not considered. It's not considered a garment. It has to be something that's either attached to your body, right? Something that's in your hand. That's what you're doing. So bike is different because you're actually using your own like legs. And you're on it, like it's transporting your body. You're separate. It's a separate entity. It's not you. You're not on it. Like you're on a skateboard, not on a stroller. Right. So one second. Let's go back again. Not necessarily. Again, people are saying because you're using you're using it to transport your own body, right? That's one of those things. But you're sitting and lifting the item. You're lifting the baby to go. How do you get the baby in the stroller? Like how do you get the stroller down the steps?
So if I carry a baby,
you're lifting it. Then I put it into, but I took it out of my door and I put it on the street. I already carried.
No, you put your baby in first. No, to go from the house.
No, let's say I put my baby in the. How do you get the stroller out of the house?
Technically, you bounce down the steps and every time.
These guys, these shamas, they're chucking the baby down the thing. It's definitely like an Elliot loophole for sure. No, I understand. I'm just trying to say this is a big deal. It's one of the lamitim melachot. It's the same way. So we understand why people would be. You have to understand. It's harder for your generation, especially. I think everybody here is in a family that's following the Erub. You can't like understand what it was like without one. I remember I grew up without the Erub, so I was just like, it was so annoying. You like if you want a prize in shul, you can never bring it home. If you we didn't visit, we always had to sleep.
Oh my God! So I feel like
you can't leave it in shul. And okay, so it says there's a lot of politics. They had to lock it in the closet, whatever it is. You had to check your. The rabbi would always announce: check your pockets, the candy, sucking candy, the wrapper. You have a sucking candy in shul. You put the wrapper in your pocket, and you carry it. So one second. There are many shuls that do not believe in the city, right? So now it's anyway, right? They don't believe in the Erub. Chacham Baruch was against it. So many people follow Chacham Baruch. Rabbi Kassan was for it. So again, one of those more political splits. So again, it became a political issue. It's a shame that it became a political issue. It's definitely a shame, but we try to fight through it, and we try not to get. If you ever want to, just don't. Can't politicize anything. Come with your sources. What I teach you. Come with your sources. Come with your I's dotted, T's crossed. You know who follows it, who doesn't, and let everybody. If they don't want to, and go and listen. Thank God you guys are very young, so it's not. But again, like, imagine you marry into a family that doesn't follow the Erub, and you have a baby boy and the Brit Milah is on Saturday. They're gonna make you sleep in the shul.
People are listening to you.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say, like now you're in a shalom bayit industry. You know, it's like it's very. It's not extreme in the laws of Shabbat. If I don't follow the Erub, that's what you have to do.
If there was no
Eruv, that's what they used to do. Ask the previous generation. They used to sleep in the shul. Always to say, no, I'm not. That's why they didn't do Shabbat Brit Milah in the shul. They did in the house. They would say, doing it in the house, sleep in the house. But I'm trying to say, if you wanted it in the shul, let's say now a person says, I want to Brit Milah in the shul with my rabbi, with my friends, with everybody. Let's say a person gets married. Okay, they have a teeny tiny. They live in an apartment. And now you just have right. So now you're right. I'm having the rest of my apartment. Now you have this little tiny baby, and as little tiny baby, then your mom's like, no problem, sleep by me. Now you're already crying. I'm sleeping by my mom. 8 days after that, I had the baby. I want my own bed. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. This is like brisk politics. I'm saying I don't know, but you understand? Like, as a Hoover, like at 4 first, you guys had right. So you understand? Like, it's definitely, but you have to respect the issue. It's not a small issue. Carrying is very serious. So it's not a small issue. So now, okay, outside of why did I do this introduction? Okay, so deal has the Erub, has the poles and strings. Now they're using telephone wires. Now that has to be checked every Erev Shabbat. You know how much it checks that, you know how much money and resources you have to, how many guys do you think it would take to check the Erub? They're spending thousands of dollars a week to just hire. Make sure that the wire is not down. Make sure that they have a map of, okay, we put our own wire up over here. Go check, make sure it's up. They send the guy driving 2 hours. They have to check it. They have an Erub website. Sali Dweck, we'll give a shout out to him. He's the, basketball player. Sali Dweck. Yeah. Tori's dad. Yeah. He's the head of, ask him. Yeah. If you ask him anytime, like I rented a house in Deal, I had to ask Sali, is this in the Erub? And he'll tell you. Yeah, in Deal, because now in Deal, everybody now started to go like Eatontown, West Long Branch, they're further. So it stops in places. This is so now a guy's riding his bike with a tennis racket. I don't know. People think the rabbis are just like mad because like no one will invite us to a tennis game. But that's like on Shabbat. But that's a problem. I don't want to stop it, but I will. It's your show. So, right. So this is you understand? This is what's happening. You can't even walk a few steps with carrying. So the deal Erub was really sanctioned by everybody. Even more. We'll say right-leaning, rabbis accepted it. Some of those rabbis, even though Rabbi of the Yoshul was for it, etc., they said, no, we're going to be strict like the Rambam. And unless it's walls, no matter what, not carrying. People did not call. That's why the old city of Yerushalayim, it's completely walled. So some people would carry. Some people even change their tune because of that. I'm not going to tell you why, whatever. Some people, they don't even carry in Yerushalayim. Because not every single inch of the wall, they're looking at the wall, like the ruins, right? Some people, they're very, very, very strict. They'll only carry like the Rambam. So at least 10 tefachim. So you understand? So what happens? So that's just in general. So now in Brooklyn, you're relatively safe. So now you should just know Chacham Yosef put his stamp on the Eruv. Rabbi Kaza put his stamp on the Eruv. I was sitting with a few people who are connected, right? You can follow it. That means in the first place, not like, only an emergency, only in anything. Rabbi Aluf endorses the Eruv. We have the signs, we have the papers. Rav Wozner was like the Eruv expert, was the one that was brought in to make our Brooklyn Eruv. You can follow the Eruv with confidence. And if a person wants to be strict on the Eruv, I don't mind either. Be strict. No one's walking up to somebody saying, carry this on Shabbat, right? It does get a little dicey when there's inter-family politics. Why won't they come eat by me? Why won't they come? Because they don't wheel, they don't push, they don't this. You have to be tolerant, right? You can't be everyone on both sides has to be tolerant. There's people, look, it pains me. I carry my book. I like to, you see how busy, like I'm very busy during the week. Sometimes I won't have exactly what I want to say Shabbat prepared. I'll have to stay up late Friday night. Or let's say I say, you know what, I want to review from my book and bring my book to shul. So I want to bring my book to shul. I don't want, the shul has the same book. Yeah, we don't have this book with my notes. You don't have the book that I like, the version that I like. So I cannot bring my books. So I'm bringing my books to shul almost every Shabbat. There are people on the street, they won't use shalom, they walk away. Yeah. Try it next time you're carrying. Say Shabbat Shalom if you say Shabbat Shalom, I'm a very friendly person, so I'm like, oh, Shabbat Shalom.
Oh my God.
One time when somebody put me on Shabbat, this one Ashkenazi, because I live in the Ashkenazi area, I was like, oh, Shabbat Shalom. He said, good Yom Tov.
Oh.
He said,
Because you were
yeah, like, oh, because it's the you must think it's the holiday. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it's saying that's how far they take it. It's horrible.
Why does it affect them?
It affects them because they feel like their Judaism is under attack. Because deep down inside, they're dying to carry. They would love to carry, but they can't. That same guy was psyched. His wife is probably like telling him like, why can't we carry? Like, because the rabbi said no. And then like on Yom Tov, they're celebrating because they're like, they're loving it. They could push. They all push. They all look like exactly like we do on. So great question. So that's what we're going to talk about. Let's say with a hatzer, right? So hatzer over here. So as long as it's enclosed to your house and it's not open to another person's domain, then you're going to be allowed. That's called eruv hatzerot. So we're not going to have. So I realize that we gave a lot of backgrounds. We're not going to be able to do the sheet, but if you look at it, you could read it in English. That eruv hatzerot is what happens if there's other people that own. Let's say my house is open to your house. Let's say we share a backyard. So now it's not a private domain anymore. It's a public domain. So we have to do something that shows that we share ownership. So what did they do? They made an eruv. Eruv literally means to bring together, le'arev, right? So what do you have to? How do I bring it together? So usually with food, if you do go to source, here go to page 3. Page 3, source 6, right? So page 3, source 6. Umahu ha'eruv hazeh. What is this eruv that we're talking about? You take a full thing of foods, like you take like a full challah before Shabbat. What do? You have to do this before. It's one thing for all of us together. We are together. It's a bond that we're sharing that brings us together. We say the beracha on it. The beracha is in Kol Yaakov, and you do that. Now you only have to do that. Let's say I live with my neighbors. We only have to do that. Let's say like once a year, and it works for the year, right? Let's say like we have in deal that happens also. Like a lot of times there's no fences, but you don't have a fence. Not everybody has a fence for their backyard. So let's say like your backyard opens up straight into the next person's backyard. Now if you're following the city's eruv, no problem. I'm trying to say again. It's hard to think about it because like back then we used to not have an eruv, so everybody had to have their own eruv. I don't know the exact year. I wish I knew the exact year. I just remember the Brooklyn one being like revolutionary because I was always in Brooklyn and I got perfect timing. It was great. A year later, Carol was born. That was it. We were pushing high everywhere. It was right. So that's that's just again a frame of reference.
So what if you're on vacation?
Good. So now this whole thing on vacation, disaster. Vacation, everybody forgets because their whole habit is just carrying. So that's why it's so. Let's go like this. First, let's go through practical steps. So the first thing, let's talk about the eruv hatzerot in the hotel. Yes, I did hear the Rabbi Aluf is strict in the hotel, and in the hotel, why they want to treat it like a hatzer, not like a reshut hayachid. What's the logic? That each and every person is really an owner of their room. I own my room, you own your room. So now if we're owners, so like the lobby is not yours or mine. It's shared. I understand it's inside, but even though it's inside, it's a domain that doesn't belong to just one person. Even though it has a roof over it, it's considered public domain. Meaning a hotel is now considered something that is shared by many people. So if people wanted to be strict, what would you do? Right? You would go to the hotel manager or whatever it is and say, look, I'm doing this for everybody. We want to, that we have ownership together, that you do this, you have to make an eruv hatzerot there's not no solution. There is a solution. You have to just have, I don't know if the Oveds are going to like volunteer. So them like, right? Like Jackie was sure would do it. So by the way, if you want to do it and you have somebody who's versed who could do it, bring the bread, put it in a safe place, do that. So here in this source, Rambam tells you exactly, I'm not going to go through how to do it. We'll do that offline, right? But there's a beracha. Source 6. I brought it down here. Say it again, Vivian. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Wait, one second. Sorry. And now people want to say the lobby though is a known area that's for so again, so the rabbis who are strict, right, are able to do it. So I spoke with Rabbi Sutton before this just to verify. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, we're coming back to him, has a big teshuvah about this and says, really, hotel is not, you're not an owner. All the guests are not an owner. A hotel has one owner. And you look in the Gemara and you look also that Rambam says that if the owner has the right to walk into your room to either like store his vessels or store his kelim and get them, then it's considered that no, you're also not an owner, it's really him. So think about it, the dishes that are in your hotel room, or let's say the sheets, the bed, housekeeping, the ironing board, the hanger, like it's not yours, can't take them, right? It belongs to the owner, the principal owner of the hotel. So we use that logic to say, no, a hotel is considered still what? Reshut Rabim. So that's how I hold, that's how Rabbi Sutton was. Reshut Yachid, sorry. Reshut Yachid, and it's owned by one person. So now you can carry within the hotel. I'm allowing you, yes. I'm allowing you asking me, Rabbi Tal, what do I do? So that's why the place I'm following that shita. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, I double checked it with Rabbi Sutton. You can be lenient on that for sure. If you want to be mahmir, Rabbi Aluf is mahmir, right? We found out that was like more like a later development. We'll have to ask the rabbi. Maybe something changed, etc. But again, if anybody wants to be, so many of the trips, I know like Aslan Bawabe on the Erub trip, he does the Erub to make sure that everybody can carry. He does it. I don't know if he personally does it, but he definitely sets it up that the actual the bread. This is so let's back up. There are different types of eruvim. When it's an eruv to carry outside, then it's the poles and the strings and the walls. When it's an eruv to just show that you and I are now like owning it together instead of separate, it's a piece of food. There's another one. You ready for this one? Eruv tavshilin. The warming one. Okay, so what's eruv tavshilin? It joins the cooking that you did from before the holiday to on the holiday that you're about to do. That's what. Yes, because it's like you start. It's all about joining together. It's you join the cooking. What they say, cook an egg and put a piece of matzah or a piece of bread, right? So you start that, and you have to do it before the holiday, because then it's like you started cooking. When did you start cooking? That's the beginning of the cooking. Like if somebody eats the eruv before you start cooking, technically you beat. You can't before you start cooking on the holiday. You're done. You can't cook, because the whole point is that see this egg, and see this. This is the start of your cooking. And you're being ma'arev, you're bringing it now, you're continuing it. So really, even though you're cooking on the holiday, so that's why, so you understand what I'm saying? So that's why some people, so that's a separate thing. I feel like we're rushing through like a million topics, which are very important, which is fine. We can always talk. Sarah, I just mentioned before you weren't here. Sorry that you blew up the chat. It was good. It was nice. I liked it. So you blew up the chat last night in the classes of Rabbi T chat. I was answering with the fish, right? Right. I know they said it coming. I was like, right. So again, that's it's not a sketch. The idea of that eruv is you should be able to treat Shabbat with respect. You need livror mana yafa Shabbat. You should have fresh food on Shabbat. So fresh food on Shabbat. How could if I cook? Let's say it's a 2-day holiday. Here we have a 3 holiday. Yeah, Shabbat's the second day. That's when you have eruv. So Shabbat's the second day. So they really cook the food 2 days in advance. Food's not good, and it's Ayib Shabbat. They made a way to be able to do that. Let me just finish the hotel thing, because then, so good. So within the hotel, in the lobby, up the stairs, outside your hotel room, we're allowing you. You have plenty to rely on to be able to carry, and that's how we're being posek. Again, what's the logic? Very quickly that you could explain to people. There's a principal owner of the hotel. It's really a reshut yachid, and he has the right to walk into anybody's room and say, I need my housekeeping, I need this, I need the kelim. Oh, sorry, you're in the room where there's the storage closet of this. That happens. Every hallway of every hotel has stuff that belongs to this guy. It's not yours, right? Like the vending machine, the ice machine, the elevators, the tables. He could store whatever he wants there. So you have a lot to rely on to be able to say that you don't need it. Ask the owner of your trip, or let's say the person who runs it. Like I was just saying, I know Aslan, he should live well, great, amazing guy. Like he always wants to make everybody feel comfortable and everybody like that. I'm pretty sure that Aruba, he goes on Aruba, right? It's an Aruba trip. The Aruba trip is like they have the Erub set up.
You're going. I'm on the way.
Let me say. So wait, who is first? So it's not a Reshut Harabim, it's just owned by many people. That's what I'm trying to say. A hotel's like the only example that's modern. Like what else would be? Like the convention center, like if we were all sleeping together. I know, but I'm saying no one's really, the shul is not really one owner.
It's not one owner.
But nobody really owns it. It's the Sibur. Like it's not even. But I'm not even. Yeah, it's an indoor thing, and everybody has like, let's say, like a little piece in it. It's like we're all together anyway.
Okay.
First of all,
Yeah.
cannot only be owned by one person. It could be owned by an LLC, and then a lot of people own it.
100%, but I'm saying, but there is a clear owner. The guy who's renting the hotel
Whatever
is
it
not a separate owner of the
Now,
hotel.
Let's say I'm like carrying out within the hotel, right?
Okay.
We got the pool area.
Okay, great. So now, once you go outside those doors, that's the issue.
Let's say it's fenced in.
Okay. So if it's fenced, so the first call that you're going to make is you could ask them, by the way, they can provide a plan. If the entire hotel complex has a wall around it, then you can carry outside also. Because then it's like that I'm bum. That what?
But it's fenced.
It's totally
wall.
fenced in. Now, if it's not, and there are little holes and whatever, there's really a lot of the Jewish hotels, a lot of people where they have trips, the rabbi comes down, he has to inspect, he has to measure. How do you know what's majority? Like we said, majority of the sides. If the wall is high enough in every place, if the string is strong, if the surat petah, it's so complicated. Like for a person to actually have a full good eruv, just like random, it is very common for walls and gates to be around the entire property. That's that is common. So if they say yes, sir, there's a gate around the entire property. If there's a gate around the entire property, then you can carry outside of your hotel and you can go. Most beach resorts don't have that because they have to get down to the beach. The beach is a huge problem. Like down to even if let's say the pool area is gated, everything is gated. Very rare, almost non-existent, to go down to the sand, and that's what everyone's carrying. They're taking their towel, they're taking their beach bag, they're taking their thing. It's not like that's where you can't get down to that area. Besides for the fact that the ocean is its own reshut, right, and that's why you can't swim in the ocean on Shabbat. There are a lot of issues with that, but that's right. So getting down on the sand with anything is an issue.
So carrying a child is considered carrying.
Absolutely.
So I'm not allowed to leave the hotel.
So on Shabbat, it's going to be a problem unless there's an Erub. So you got to find that. Maybe you have to only go to the pool area. Maybe you have to go to some place that has. So again, I don't know, right? You're going to be stuck. But if there's a gate around the whole complex and not the beach, then you can walk around and bring it to the pool.
Usually the pool area is a hotel.
And how do you get from the hotel to the pool? Is it like, guys, imagine there's nothing in the sides. But imagine there was nothing around the sides of the hotel at all. Now, but the pool area is gated. But there's how do I get from the hotel to the pool? Now, if the baby can walk, you can carry the baby all the way down the stairs, out right till you get to the outside of the door, and then you can say, "Come on." So great, excellent question. So one of the things I was going to say, this was Hambaruch's heter. For my parents used this to wheel me when I was an infant. I was born in 81, 40 years old, so 39 years ago. And this goes back to the first source. So going from Reshut Harabim to Reshut Hayachid, asur from what? Torah. Yachid to Rabim also Torah. What if I want to go right Joyce's house to Sarah's house? That's what's my goal? My goal is to go from one Reshut Hayachid to what? To another Reshut Yachid, but I'm going through what? That's the Rabbana. So in that case, but the hotel is very big. This hotel is not qualifying that. But I'm trying to. No, I'm saying so you want to say, no, I'm saying Yachid and then the pool outside, outdoors is Rabim. Why would it be? If it's a fully, right, so if it's a fully, let's say it was a fully enclosed pool, so you could tell the boy, can you take him or her down to the pool? So now you're telling her to go from the Reshut Yachid to Reshut Rabim. You can even say, don't stop. And then if they stop, because you're not allowed to stop. If you stop and put it down, put the baby down or whatever, then it's like you did what? You took the baby from Reshut Rabim to Yachid. And that's the Deoraita. So you have to tell her now she stops. What? It's very complicated. So what Hamaruch used to say was, if your like the mothers were giving excuse me, not everybody was on the observance level that they wanted. Now back then, they imagine 40 years ago hearing this, and now the mother's like, I want to see my granddaughter on Shabbat. There's no Eruv. So what do? If they had a housekeeper, so then we tell the housekeeper has to wheel the baby, take the baby down the steps. They say, we're going to grandma's house. Had to bring the baby in, had to do everything. So the Hamaruch was matir. If you told, even a person who doesn't follow the Erub now could do that. Because you're going Reshuta Yachid to Reshuta Yachid, Derech Reshuta Rabbi. So again, if you had a goy, that's a rare case. You need a gated pool, because like you said, you need to have to make sure that the pool is Reshuta Yachid also. Yeah. If it's Reshuta Rabim, right, and not gated and no Eruv and no anything, that's going to be an issue. Then you can't go anywhere. It's like you're in a hotel because that's the only Yachid. Yeah, with an infant kid, that's going to be it's a tough time. You have to take shit.
Yachid is not qualified by the property that you own. Why does it have to be fenced in if it's a property you paid for and rightfully own?
What do you mean?
Okay, so you're saying that there could be a problem with your backyard.
You want to fundamentally change the definition of Reshuta Yachid versus Reshuta Rabim.
No, I want to answer the question. Why can't the pool considered not? If the hotel owns the pool, why is that considered Reshuta Rabim?
So there are many people that are in the hotel, right? And that they have the right to be there, right? So now, if the person says that once it's outdoors and there's no walls, there's no anything, it's almost like an open place. That's why I don't want to also get too technical. There's also something called a karmelit, right? A karmelit is also in between, not a Shuta Rabim, not a Shuta Yachid, but also it's forbidden to travel from there too. So something also 3 walls, something that doesn't have it fully, not as high. It's not makom patur, right? It's a karmelit. So those definitions are also going to hurt you. It also depends on the type of pool. Like we're talking very abstract. Instead, we're talking, I don't know what the pool looks like. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what it is, but it has to be that it's a private domain. Now, if we're all together as owners, like the hotel is owned by one person, but he's letting everybody equally be together. Same thing at the pool. It's going to work with there's a fence, but it's not going to work if it's wide open to everybody else. If you could just freely walk in, there's no demarcation of saying it's outdoors. Like indoors with the hotel, you have what to rely on.
Property line is not.
Who knows the property line? Like I'm trying to say, like a fence on the property line that's going to work. You understand? And a fence has to be high.
You know the property line of your house. You know exactly where your house starts, exactly where it ends.
But the neighbor doesn't. What stops the neighbor from walking on? Like, are you one of those, like, what do they call it, Karens and Kyles? They say they're like, oh, well, get off my property. I don't know. The guy's walking his dog. I have no idea.
Inside your
It's a good point. I don't have a great prepared answer right now. Like in terms of, let's say, why can't it be the property line? Those are the best answers. Again, it has to be visible, has to be a certain amount, it has to be, people have to have the right to do it. So just in summary, I'm just saying right now, you have to check if the place has an Eruv. Most of the Jewish trips will have that mapped out for you. So if you're going on again, and this goes back to what we said in the beginning of the series, going on vacation and staying true to the things that you believe in for your family religiously and in terms of observance is tough, is difficult, requires planning, and deep down inside is very annoying to a lot of people because the concept of vacation is they just want to be free. Well, to use a cliche, right? We can't be free from Hashem and the Torah and what's happening. So we have to be careful. Now, you also have to. Sometimes I was in a hotel where yes, there was a gate around the complex, but the property, there was a gate around the complex, but it had openings in the gate where you had to cross the street to get to the next part of the hotel. So I couldn't get over that part of the street on Shabbat.
They wouldn't have a door there?
Because no, it's two. Let's say it's two. They have the beginning. Yeah, they have the beginning part of the complex and the second part of the complex. So they're assuming everyone's driving that. Like they're not thinking about what's going to happen on Shabbat. They don't care. They're driving all the time. So you drive up. Oh, I'm in this wing, the New Haven wing, the Connecticut wing, this wing, right? So these wings are on this part of the property. Oh, and they expanded the property, but there's a highway in between, or there's a road that's in between. So the fences clearly stop. How am I going to get my kid? That's a break.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to do that. So again, bottom line, let's just say for the hotel, we have what to rely on. Within the indoors of the hotel stairway, right? Indoors, we have what to rely on. Outdoors, again, the beach is going to be a problem. The pool area is a problem unless it's fenced in. Again, and if the whole property is fenced in, then you're going to be good. Then it's good because then it's going to be just part of the hotel.
Like there is in Florida.
Then you're going to be fine.
Florida has one.
Florida has one in all those places. Again, because it's majority Jewish. So I don't know. I can't speak to each. So I'm saying you'd have to look. So I don't have like grandparents that go there. One second, yeah. Non-Jew. I mean, that's key information.
Let's say she's carrying my child. I didn't ask her.
Then she's doing it herself. You just say, "Watch my kid."
Plus, you're watching my child.
You're in charge of her.
But then on the beach, I can't pick her up from the chair.
No, you shouldn't. You can lift, right, but I'm saying that it's derabanan already. When she's lifting her and carrying, you can move her, but then you can't walk with her.
No, you can't. So like,
Can't walk with her.
To the beach, I'm not taking her over the
Correct.
beach.
I mean, she could sit on your lap.
And how am I gonna?
You have to walk up to her and sit where she is.
I feel like it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not.
too
It's like you
much
just can't go.
Again, there's a lot of those things. Exactly, meaning it's going to be a big deal. You can't carry your kids. You see people, they think they're carrying their kid across the beach.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about a kid that's only walking?
It's a lot of things. Either they don't know,
On a roof.
right? Maybe they could be. We always have to play Kafzechut. Either, well, let's say this. Maybe they're going from Reshut Arabi, like maybe they're doing circle. I have no idea. It's hard. It's difficult. That's why you've heard. Come on, I'm sure you've heard every rabbi say can't go to the beach on Shabbat. I think they're saying carrying is at least their problems, but about like how women are dressed there and stuff.
What if the kid walk and then you need to take him in the ocean and you're carrying him?
So again, the ocean on Shabbat's awesome. You guys are way off. That's why attendance in this class is low.
Once a child is able to walk on their own, you're allowed to carry them.
So again, it depends on when, and we're saying again, even in the shoot within that shoot, it's not so simple. I don't want to get into it. It's not so simple. It's not an easy thing. Okay, and most people are talking about really the babies that can't carry themselves. You're talking about the concept of high noseh tatzmo. That's what's called high noseh tatzmo. Exactly. Yes. We're trying to say those things. So then when that happens, it's not. But again, I want to go back to Sarah's point. Right, Sarah, meaning again, I don't know how they're doing it.
Like
okay, a lot of people. Okay, but listen, if the lounge chairs are already there and they're just walking on, and they just go and they just want to sit, then it's fine. It's a matter of carrying things. You're in a tough spot because if you have a 6-year-old kid, and the 6-year-old kid is just like, okay, you're gonna play in the sand. Let's say, okay, you're in sand. Let's do it. Right, it's touching dirt, whatever it is. But I was saying, again, let's say there's a lot of those things. We're just gonna go for a walk on the beach, not carrying anything, doing anything. Okay, you can walk on the beach, but you got to be very careful. Look at all the things that we're talking about.
Isn't that a problem like digging?
Digging?
Or like walking on the beach is considered digging?
But not that's considered. It's not that you get very far. Like it's not and it's not soil. It's not soil. It's not quite common with sats. It depends. It depends. To walk on the beach, you walk on the beach. It's not again, but you got to make sure about the carrying. You got to make sure about all those issues. You have to make sure about all those issues.
So also, you said before that from a Shuta Yachid to Shuta Yachid.
Derech Reshut Harabim.
Yeah, that's allowed.
That's derabanan.
That's allowed, man.
That's asur derabanan. So you're using a goy for a mitzvah. You understand? Like you're trying to say. So let me clarify that if that wasn't clear, right? Hamaruch was just saying. Hamaruch only said that because he was saying, okay, there's a mitzvah here of shalom bayit, of oneg Shabbat. The parents are yelling. They're gonna feel.
Because it's a mitzvah.
Because the thing that you want to do, even if I did that myself, and I took my kid and in a place where there was no Erub, and I wheeled from one side to the next, from one domain that's private to the next private domain, and I just used the Reshut Harabim, I didn't stop. I didn't do anything. I continuous motion. That's only Sur de Rabbanan. Now I tell a goy to do that. So I told a goy to do a de Rabbanan for me, and there's sorech. And you need part 3. That's to be to bring my ball to the schoolyard to play on Shabbat is not a sorech.
In general, are you only allowed to use the Erub for something that's not from soda?
So again, in general, meaning anything that's for Shabbat, meaning in Shabbat, it's easier because you're only allowed to move things that you really need.
Oh, yeah, because
Anything else is muktzeh, like you're not going to be able to do, or things that you're preparing for Shabbat.
Yeah.
On Yom Tov, that's actually a svara. There's a svara called mitoch. Mitoch she'utra letzorech utra she'eno letzorech. Meaning, since they allowed it for need, even without need, on Yom Tov, you could transfer it.
Okay.
I'm not saying if that's muskam either. Again, everything's more. We could do a topic on just each one of these things. It's very specific, but I'm just trying. I hope is everybody clear here or not? Or not really? I know I'm talking fast and we're ping ponging, so I'm not sure. I apologize for the recording if it's a little choppy. People on. It's okay, right? But if it's a different topic, then I'll close this and then we'll say Baruch Good on the Erub stuff or not? Good.
Yeah.
Baruch